What's up, fellow collectors? This is Man vs. Cards, aka Devon, and I appreciate you guys for clicking on this video. In today's video, we're going to be discussing why Poke collectors are leaving the hobby. Now, I'm in a bunch of different Facebook groups with people that collect Pokemon cards, and a lot of people have been mentioning lately that they are getting out of the hobby. So I decided to ask some people to see why. And here's what a majority of them said in response. First reason we're going to talk about is toxic collectors, right? These collectors want your cards at 40% of the value so that they can flip it. I mean, if you sell your cards to me at 40% of the value, then I'm going to buy it and flip it to someone else too. I mean, that's just a fact of life, you know? Those same toxic collectors constantly judge your price on cards. A lot of us develop sentimental connections to these cards, and it's hard to let them go. So when we do decide to let them go, we want a really good price for it. They nitpick everything from the whiting on the card to one side being bigger than the other one, to even if the card is coming from a smoke-free home. I mean, come on, dude. The last thing I'm going to touch on here is scammers. All right, these are people that seem friendly and they're like eager to sell their cards, a little too eager if you ask me, but they end up taking your soul, right? Because you might pay for a card, a product, and you don't get anything. They don't send it to you, and they ghost you pretty much. So scammers are a big part of why people are leaving the hobby. They're mostly found in Facebook groups, and they're asking for you to pay with like Cash App. If you decide to deal with somebody in a Facebook group, not on eBay or Mercari or somewhere, then make sure you do PayPal goods and services and not friends and family. That way, if you don't get your product, you can file a claim to get your money back. The second thing that we're going to discuss today is the underwhelming releases by Pokemon. The timing of the new sets is fine, like Pokemon releases a new set every 2 months or so, but they are very dull in nature. They tried to inject new life in their products by incorporating those silver borders, but so far it's failed miserably. Nobody really likes it. With there being no uniqueness, this leads to collection fatigue. People get tired of the same products. One thing I think Pokemon could do to improve on this is by numbering their cards. The sports card market does it, Topps, Panini. They have their number cards, and the value on those things is much, much higher than something that's not numbered. The third thing that we're going to talk about today is finances. This was probably one of the most mentioned reason why, and I definitely get it. People talked about bills, life, they want to have babies, kids, all that, buy a house, all that stuff, different family events. Inflation was a huge reason. Everything's going up around us, and it's making it difficult to afford these things. Debt, and I'm guilty of this too. I'll swipe my credit card one too many times to buy that pack that just released. So I'm guilty of it, just like I'm sure like everybody else is. So, and that inflation makes it harder to and much expensive to get what you want. Like those vintage cards are much, much better than the modern cards today. There's been one modern set that is kicking butt, and that's Evolving Skies. If you guys, that came out in like 2021, and it has a ton of super cool cards, alternate art cards, including the Moonbreon, and that set has skyrocketed. I luckily got my booster box on the re-release for like $120, and now it's up to like $600. So that makes me feel good about that investment there. In order to offset the rising inflation, people started doing waffles in these Facebook groups, And at first it was a good idea because you spend like $2 and you get a chance to hit like $100 card, which is awesome. But you get money hungry people that are 10xing the value of their cards, and they're trying to basically rip people off, and they're making a killing off these things. Another huge reason that people are getting out of the Pokemon hobby is unstable card values, right? Collectors buy cards expecting them to increase instantly and overnight, and this is simply not the case. Most of those cards take time to gain value, and this happens because most of the time because those people that play the actual game, they buy cards that are becoming more useful and helpful to them in the game, and that in turn drives up the price. So it's kind of like a supply and demand thing. People are buying them up and then reselling them to those people that play for a higher price point. And that leads to people making bad investments in a card. The absolute worst time to buy a card is when it first releases. That's when the price is normally the highest, and that is a huge no-no. Unless you got it like that, and you don't mind spending the money and watching it come down, the price come down. But yeah, that's the absolute worst time to purchase a card. Sometimes collectors get caught holding the bag, which simply means they're not selling the card when they should, at its highest peak. They are waiting and waiting and waiting, and the whole entire time the price is dropping and dropping and dropping. And that's not a good feeling to see something you spend your hard-earned money on just dropping price. The last reason that Poke collectors are leaving the hobby is because there's more TCG competition. Literally everyone is getting into the card game. Popular shows like One Piece and DBZ and pop culture stalwarts such as Disney with Lorcana have entered the chat and made it a much, much more competitive market. One Piece in particular has just taken over. Lorcana had taken over for a while, but their last set they released, Into the Inklands, was Pokemon-like, and it wasn't that good. So people haven't been buying up as much as they should. But One Piece has these beautiful cards, and they have they have a better hit rate than a lot of the stuff in Pokemon, which in turn is leading people to want to buy more of that product than stick with Pokemon and lose money. People have started to buy singles now, and that's because the pull rates are so bad. No one wants to buy a product to try to complete a master set when it takes like thousands of dollars before you even and it's not even guaranteed that you get the cards that you want. You guys, appreciate you tuning in to this video. Hope to catch you guys on the next one real soon. I'm out. Peace.